Imagine waking up to a bombshell that throws the most secretive corridors of power into chaos. The King's funeral plan, Operation London Bridge, has been leaked in full, and Buckingham Palace is scrambling to plug the breach. Welcome back to our channel, dear viewers, where we pull back the velvet drapes on the royal family's most closely guarded secrets. If you love a good palace scandal, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell now, because today's tale of clandestine leaks, frantic crisis control, and whispered threats of legal action has all the ingredients of a royal thriller. It all began on an otherwise ordinary Tuesday morning. The Daily Telegraph landed its story like a thunderclap. King's funeral blueprint leaked, full details exposed. Within minutes, every newsroom from Fleet Street to Fairfax was ablaze. The leaked document was staggering in its detail: timetables for the lying in state, precise military parade routes, coded roles assigned to every senior royal, even the unusual request for 2,000 black knitted mufflers to be distributed among mourners. Nothing was off limits: the Guard of Honour's 5 regiments, the 17-minute procession through Whitehall, the bulletproof routes for visiting heads of state. Every trooper's step, every trumpet fanfare, every consoling handkerchief finely choreographed, and suddenly splashed across the front pages. For the palace, this moment was nothing short of a nightmare. Down in the bowels of Buckingham and Clarence houses, a crisis committee was formed on the spot. Courtiers, security chiefs, and the communications director, Penelope Marchbanks, huddled in an emergency situation room. Their orders were clear: identify the leaker, stem the tide, and, if possible, obliterate every trace of the stolen plans. Marchbanks issued a terse public statement deploring the unauthorized disclosure of highly sensitive information intended solely for official channels, promising a full investigation. But her words rang hollow when every map, each color-coded envelope, every contingency for rain or terror threat was already splashing across Twitter. Then came the palace's covert legal offensive. Cease and desist letters, branded with the royal crest, landed in editors' inboxes and landed with a thud on influencers' DMs: remove your posts, or face legal action under the Official Secrets Act. Screenshots of these sternly worded threats spread like wildfire. Civil liberties groups cried censorship. Press freedom advocates decried a palace power grab. Hastily drafted op-eds appeared under #SaveTheBridge and #PressNotPrincess. Suddenly, the monarchy was cast not as a symbol of stability and tradition, but as an institution fighting to quiet the very people it relies on for its global reach. Speculation about the leak's source became the story's beating heart. Was it the disgruntled military aide who felt overlooked? A foreign agent hacking the system? Or a simple human error? A palace cleaner who pocketed a printed binder and passed it along? MI5 quietly joined the hunt, reviewing CCTV footage of every corridor that led to the secure planning rooms. Rumors circulated of a junior aide, spotted clutching a manila envelope and darting past the Abbey door, face pallid with fear. Some whispered that the real motive wasn't mischief or malice, but a deliberate effort to remind the public: the monarchy, for all its grandeur, is just as vulnerable as any other organization in the digital age. As uproar peaked, the palace faced a stark choice: double down on suppression and risk the Streisand effect, where attempts to erase information only make it more viral, or embrace transparency and release an official summary that would let them control at least part of the narrative. Inside the Privy Council halls, arguments raged. Better we guide the story than let tabloids write it for us, counseled some. Any release will legitimize the leak, countered others. Outside, on London's streets, cafes and pubs buzzed. Pints raised to debates over tradition versus overprotective secrecy. Tourists snapped selfies with placards reading "Open the palaces, end the secrecy." In Parliament, MPs demanded answers. How do we secure state secrets without trampling on press freedom? In response, the palace rolled out a two-pronged strategy. First, they quietly published a slimmed-down, official guide to royal mourning, a 3-page brochure omitting all the juicy operational details, but outlining the dates, the foreign dignitaries invited, the broad strokes of public ceremony. It was their effort to reclaim the narrative, to undercut the Telegraph's exclusivity. Second, they launched a human interest campaign, mini-documentaries on palace staff training grief counselors for workers, profiles of volunteers knitting those signature black mufflers, interviews with yeoman warders explaining the centuries-old rituals. The goal: shift attention from a scandal to a shared sense of national mourning and respect. But in today's 24/7 news cycle, every spin, no matter how artful, is bound to spark counterblazes. Critics dismissed the palace's guide as a PR stunt. Civil liberties groups warned that legal threats against social media users opened a dangerous door for state censorship. Tabloids smelled blood, speculating on Operation Royal Equation, the secret dossier of the King's will, his private letters, the whispered inheritance plan for Prince George. The palace flatly denied such leaks, but gossip is a hard beast to tame once let loose. Behind palace walls, the atmosphere was electric. Some senior royals reportedly met in private salons, urging calm. This controversy must not overshadow Dad's legacy, the heir apparent was said to counsel. Others saw a silver lining, a stark reminder that the monarchy in the digital era must evolve, or be undone by a single keystroke. And yet, as the days ticked down to when the king's funeral would lie just beyond the horizon, something remarkable happened. The nation's focus began to shift. The leak was still news, but now it shared headlines with moving personal tributes, school children's paintings of the late monarch, wartime veterans recalling his inspiring speeches, charities announcing days of national service in his honor. The palace's humanization campaign took hold. On social media, #London Bridge leak began to give way to #remembering our king. In the final weeks, crowds gathered to practice the silent vigil at Westminster Hall. Volunteers, mufflers in hand, lined the procession routes. The palace's partial mea culpa, the sanitized guide coupled with candid staff interviews, had worked. Public outrage gave way to solidarity. Even the fiercest critics admitted, the monarchy had weathered a historic storm. But the lessons linger. Operation London Bridge's leak forced the oldest, and most secretive, court in the world to confront an uncomfortable truth. In an age where every corridor can have a hidden camera, and every myth can be unraveled by a rogue post, the monarchy cannot cling to absolute control. It must find a new equilibrium, one that respects tradition and honors confidentiality, yet embraces a measure of transparency and human vulnerability. As the sun finally set on the weeks of controversy, palace insiders quietly implemented sweeping reforms: bulletproof digital vaults for ceremonial plans, tiered access to sensitive files, mandatory media training for every aide, a new media advisory council charged with balancing privacy with public interest. It was an institutional overhaul born from crisis, proof that even the grandest institutions must adapt or fade. So, what do you think, dear viewers? Was the palace right to fight tooth and nail for secrecy? Or did the leak serve the public by shining a light on an outdated culture of concealment? Can the monarchy, with all its centuries of pageantry, truly evolve in the age of instant information? Drop your thoughts below, we thrive on your insights. If this behind-the-scenes peek into royal crisis management grabbed your imagination, give us a like, subscribe for more insider stories, and ring that notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into palace intrigue. Until then, keep your curiosity aflame, because in the world of crowns and courtiers, the greatest secrets are often the ones that find their way into the light.